Hello, especially to my midlife entrepreneurs, those women who are 45 plus. I have had this channel for many, many years. I think I started it in about 2008 when I had GlowFit TV. I was in the fitness industry back then, and I used to do a weekly GlowFit TV video. It's in the archives. I'll bring it out again one day, but it's pretty wild. Anyway, so I've dabbled in YouTube a lot over the years, never really taken it very seriously. And the reason that I'm throwing my hat back in the ring is because in this phase of our lives, I'm 56, my next birthday is in March, I'll be 57. I've been in business well over 30 years. I've been doing this a long time. And I see, I don't even like the term midlife, but I think I have to say it so people understand what I'm talking about. But there are a lot of midlife people showing up and doing their bit for the midlife fitness movement and the midlife kind of lifestyle movement, where they are showing up and you can dress this way. And so there is this midlife movement happening, which is amazing because I don't know about you, but this stage of my life is fucking incredible. And so there's a lot of that out there, but I'm not seeing a lot of midlife entrepreneurs, a lot of midlife founders. There's not a bigger conversation going on around that. And most of the women that I do work with in my business are in midlife. And it's that's who I prefer to work with, honestly, because by that time in your life, you really know a lot about yourself and you've gained a lot of wisdom that translates so beautifully into business. And so I want to speak to you about this and all of the different facets of it. So in the past, other than GlowFit TV, this channel was very much about showing you how to be a high ticket coach and grow your high ticket coaching business and strategy based stuff, right? Teaching you stuff. And I've just evolved out of that so much. And I do very little social media these days. I've relied very heavily on my podcast over the last 12 months, and that's growing and growing. And that's basically the biggest marketer of my business right now. And I am here for that. I love it. And I love long form content. I got lots to say. I'm wordy, I'm verbose. I'm not very succinct. I don't do very well trying to shove things into even a 60-second reel. It's just not my vibe because there's so much depth to everything that we have to share in midlife, right? There's so much more to it than just the quick grab. And so this is going to be my home for video content. My podcast at the moment is just it's just audio. That may change, but I don't want to find myself doubling up. I don't want to find myself doing the same content for each. And I know that with my podcast, I rock up Monday morning, roll out of bed after I've had my coffee and I've done a little bit of journaling. I haven't even had my shower yet. I sit down, I hit the microphone, and away we go. And it's that simple. And then I have my podcast promo team get it out to the masses, right? So we're working towards 10,000 downloads a day right now, which is wild to me, but it's doing very, very well. So that's one thing, but that strategy's been rolling for a while now, and it just does what it does, right? It just does its thing. And I'm looking for another way to share my decades of experience and wisdom and have a two-way conversation with you guys because this time of our life is exciting. So the first video that I want to talk, or this first video, what I want to talk about is how I'm doing business these days. And also a couple of little personal things. I started HRT this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I really want to talk with you about how I'm doing business. Because I know for many of you, if you are my age or around my age, or if you've been in the entrepreneurial online space for the last decade or so, you will have noticed some really big changes. And for me, back in the early, 2010s, 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, even 17, 18, it was very easy for me to show up and just do my thing on social media. Never really thought too much about it strategically because influencer culture wasn't really a thing then. And so it was really just show up and share what was on my heart. And if I had something to sell, I'd talk about it. And even 2020 was a massive year for me when we were all in lockdown because I was online more and it was a really big year for me in business. But I did notice that there was a massive shift on the typical social medias like the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, right? And everything was morphing towards TikTok type content. And I just felt not squeezed out, but I just felt like this is doing me a disservice. And then the whole algorithm shifting and changing and not really getting the same sort of traction that I was getting before. So much was going unseen, and you would have noticed that too, right? And so if you've been around as long as I have, back in the heyday, you would post some things on social media. There was a lot of engagement. It was easy to sell your offers, all that. It was very, very easy. And then it became a lot more challenging. And then what I noticed was the going to sound like a freaking geriatric, but like the younger people came online and they grew up with TikTok and they knew how to create short form content because that's what they were like their social media life started with, right? And so they were very good at that. And so the algorithm was rewarding that, right? It was rewarding this, yeah, we're focused on short form videos now. We're doing this, we're doing that. And so it then became this avalanche. And so people that were good at social media were being very successful, even if they weren't necessarily very good at what they did, right? I would rather work with a mentor who has been through it and has had a few wobbles along the way, or things have crashed and burned and they've had to find a way to get back up again. There's wealth in the wisdom, right? There's wealth in our wisdom. And so I want to see people that are older and wiser and have more depth to their knowledge and have had more knockdowns, get ups, and knowing how to keep getting up and going forward because entrepreneurship is really just a series of successes and failures, right? And we usually have more failures than we have successes. And so I'm excited to work with people who have had to rise again and rise again and rise again because that is the nature of it, right? Instead of being sold this whole idea that, oh, I just accidentally did this TikTok and it blew up and suddenly my business is doing 8 figures. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that was not my experience by any stretch. And I know it wasn't for a lot of us either, right? We had success, we've had success. I built my coaching business to multi 6 figures. So the success has been there, but it's just felt out of alignment to do those things. And so I decided last year I was opting out of the traditional social media. I was opting out of dancing for the fucking algorithm, performing for the internet. And it's like, this is soul destroying. And I'm competing with amateurs, like good at social media, amateur at being the expert, right? And so I thought, my podcast is going to be where I focus my attention because it feels good. It doesn't feel like I'm marketing. It just feels like me hanging out with my besties on a Monday morning with my podcast, and my microphone, just doing my thing. And I thought, well, this feels like the truest representation of who I am. There's no performance. If it takes 40 minutes to get my message out, it takes 40 minutes. If it takes 15, it takes 15. If it happens to start with one topic and morph into another topic, I'm good with that. And so for me, it was like, I just want to be me and I want to make that the vehicle through which I market my business. And so I'll do a whole episode on my podcast marketing strategy. I will do a whole episode on that. But the focus for me was grow this podcast. I'm now monetized and I now earn streaming revenue from my podcast every single month. And it's a way that I do business. It's a way where people can binge my content. It doesn't just get lost, right? You know that if you have a favorite podcaster that you listen to, when you find them, you go back, right? You go back and you have a look at all the other stuff that they've created, or you listen to all the episodes, right? you just listen to them all. And then there'll be times where you're having a moment and you're like, oh, I remember that podcast. I'm going to go and listen to that podcast again. And it's cataloged and it's there for people to consume in a really lovely way, right? And so rather than it just being dumped in the feed and getting lost, people that listen to podcasts are very loyal. I know that my people wait for the podcast to come out because I know they're listening to it when the podcast comes out. And so that felt like a really good move for me. And so that's essentially what I've been doing. And that is my core strategy, has been for 2025, will be going forward. And I'm going to use the same techniques for this channel that I did for that I have been doing for the podcast. There's not going to be an intro. There's not going to be an outro. There's not going to be music. It's not going to be heavily edited. We're not going to be out in the wild. It's going to be me, my Logitech Pro, filmed on what's it called? Zoom, using my Rode microphone, same backdrop every time. This is it. It may shift, right? It may change over time, but I know for me, I know myself pretty well, and I know that I am lazy. It's like I'm not a lazy person, but it's like if it's going to be hard or difficult or challenging, then I know I just won't do it. I'll convince myself that it's not worth doing it and I'll go on to something else. And so the podcast, just I keep harping on it, but the reason I love it so much is because I just show up with my microphone. I don't even have to have had a shower. So it makes it easy. I haven't missed a Monday morning recording my podcast in as long as I can remember. And I know that if I decide we're going to make it video as well, that I think my consistency will go down. I think so. Maybe not now, but potentially. And so I might say I'll do maybe a couple of video episodes a month or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to wean myself into it. YouTube is, it requires me to put some makeup on, get out of my workout gear. And in the past, that's been the resistance, right? And it's like, well, how many fucking shirts am I going to need to buy? So it looks like I'm wearing something different each time. You know, it's real, right? I don't like waste. I don't like having a lot of stuff. I just have never been that person. And so that was a little bit challenging, but I'm ready for that now. I've created so much space in my business, and because I'm not showing up on Instagram all the time, I just feel like I do have things to say and I want to sit down and I want to share it properly with you. And this morning I sent out an email to my list and it was basically a life update. And one of my the people that is in my community who's been in one of my programs, she emailed back and she said, I really love this stuff. It feels like a blog. She said, if you get on YouTube and you do the same sort of thing, I'm here for it. Like, this is what I want to hear. And it's like, yeah, this is what feels good to me. It's like having a conversation with you, not, let me do a fancy little clip so it gets you over to my Instagram or TikTok or whatever so that you get excited about that and buy my stuff. It's like, I'm so over that stuff. My stuff sells. My podcast takes care of that. I just want an outlet. I want to be connecting with you. I want to be having these conversations. And so, as far as marketing my business goes, podcast is the main thing. I do still run ads and I will be running them for, I don't know, I do like running ads. I get very good results with meta ads. I'm currently I'm running ads to fill an event that I'm running in London next year. And so I've got ads running to that. I launched the campaign yesterday and it's already going gangbusters. It's performing very, very well. So I've got 6 months to fill that event. So I'm just going to leave that ad run. The applications will come through. I will filter the people that I believe are going to be a really good fit for the offer, which is the Podcast Millionaire London experience. So I'll do that filtering. There's only 4 spaces available, so I can be very selective about that. And that feels very easy. Set up the ads once, they do a perfect job. I don't need to go in there and touch them. And that's the vibe for my business right now. And even the way that I've structured my business has changed. So over the last few years, I've run a 12-month mastermind, my She Mastermind. And I always love a mastermind. Love it. But I also have another project that I'm launching next year that is not my coaching business. It's something separate and it's massive. It's going to require a significant amount of travel. It's going to require me to show up differently in that role. It's very much a founder CEO role, not being I guess, as part of the community, right? I lead my mastermind, but I'm part of that community as well. This other business is like, no, 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 that is not your role. Your role is to lead it. And so that is coming too. So I was conscious that I needed to make a few shifts and changes in my current business because I want the option of being able to turn my mastermind off. And if somebody's just signed up, that means we've got 12 months. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be stuck running a mastermind where my head is already somewhere else, my heart is already somewhere else, and it's not what I want to keep doing. And so right now that has morphed into my inner circle, and it has a minimum requirement of 3 months, but I know that I can keep going for 3 months. So when that last person signs up, if I'm starting to think about, I want to pause this right now, I can do that. That gives me plenty of yeah, that like I can do 3 months easily and still love it and may well change my mind, who knows? But I can stop the intake at that for that at any time. And so I've got my inner circle running, and that is my one group offer where I every week I do a group call and my inner circle is within there. I've got some masterminders that are finishing up that are in there. And now that I have the podcast Millionaire, that includes 4 weeks of group mentoring, I decided I don't want to do a separate call for that. So I'm going to put those people in the inner circle as well. And that just felt so good for me because it's like, I don't want to be doing two calls, two lots of group calls every week when I don't really need to because the volume that I have in my group programs, I keep it intimate because I don't have any desire to work with 1,000 people at once or 100 people at once. I like to keep my inner circle small, and the people that come through the podcast Millionaire, they just get access to that. So it's all in one. There's no set syllabus for those calls. It's essentially just people rock up and they get the support that they need for whatever we are working on. And they also have WhatsApp access and things like that. So that works beautifully. And if, there comes a time where I need to break that into two calls, I will probably just put my prices up so that I don't need to do two calls to continue to scale. And then there may come that time where I will do two calls, but I'm going to worry. That's a later problem. That's a future me problem that I don't have to worry about now. I just need to worry about how do I want it to be right now and for the foreseeable. And so I pulled that into alignment. It feels great. I also had a rule for a long time where I didn't want to do low ticket. And the reason I didn't want to do low ticket is because in my mind, I always believe that if I'm going to work with a client, if somebody's going to have access to my framework, I want to make sure that I have my eyes on their business so I can see and catch any errors that they're making. And so digital courses, I've sold thousands of digital courses over the years, but I stopped them because I don't know, I get weird sometimes. I was just like, well, I don't know that they're getting results or not, and I don't feel good about selling something if I can't see the end result. Anyway, so I've slapped myself around because the podcast is generating that much traffic. I can't physically get to all the people that want to work with me. And so what that means is I need to have those digital courses. I need to have offers so that people can access my framework. And I'm looking at add-ons and things like that where we can include some level of support that isn't going to, you know, send me too busy because I don't like to be too busy. I haven't been too busy in years. Um, and so yeah, so right now I have the podcast Millionaire. It's a group offer. I do it one-on-one as well, but essentially it's where I help people monetize their podcasts. I have a team that gets that monetization happening, and then I open the pathway for them to continue to work with my team, and it doesn't cost them anything other than some streaming revenue. So my team take a percentage of this streaming revenue generated, and the harder they work, the better success you have, the more money they make. So it's a very win-win situation, and that's how I like to do business. And so the podcast millionaire is it's 4 weeks access to the inner circle so that, we need to bring things in alignment with the volume of the traffic. So if you're going to have a bunch of podcast traffic coming along, you want to make sure that your business is set up to leverage that, right? Mine isn't because I haven't got my digital courses up. So that's what I'm working on this month. That's my project. But the Podcast Millionaire is an incredible product. It means that there's not a huge demand on my time. A lot of it is my team. And I also am now, I've got a video sales letter that I'm about to run some ads to. And now I'm in the process, or my intern is sourcing salespeople for me because I want to put a sales team on to sell that so that I don't have to do calls or anything like that. We've got ads running to that. There will be a video sales letter. There'll be a booking button to do that. That'll happen by the end of next week. And so that whole model just takes care of itself, right? So people will come into my inner circle. My intern will manage the onboarding. She'll liaise between my team and the people. And I just show up to my weekly call every week and do my thing there. So that feels so beautiful and so aligned and so easy and so light. And my inner circle, there will always be a place, I believe, for my, there's always a community of people. A lot of the people in my inner circle have been in there into various containers that I've had for a decade or more because they do better when they work with me, right? And so I always will have a place for those people because I just love sharing the behind the scenes strategy about what I'm working on. And hey, guys, I've tried this and it's working really, really well. Go and do this. And so I do that all the time with my inner circle. I love doing that for them. There is no drain on me at all with my inner circle. It's always a good time. I love it. And so I don't see that I'll ever stop doing that. And then the last thing that I'm introducing are those digital courses. And they'll be up and running by the end of the month. I have one selling right now, but the rest will be up before the end of the year. And that's a nice, clean business model. So there's a funnel that I will run for. The premium pathway is my 10-step framework. And I'm setting up a micro offer funnel. So there's a short course for $27 that's called Your Premium Era Starts Here. I'm really excited to get in and create that, and that will sell people into the premium pathway, which is the framework that I've developed over decades of doing this. It's very, very simple, very, very elegant, very effective. And so I will have the podcast pushing people to that funnel. I'll continue to run ads just because I like running ads. And that's kind of that business. And then that frees me up to focus on the other project that I want to focus on in 2026, which is massive. And I'll share all of that with you when the time is right. But I've got big things happening. And as I sit here and I talk about all of this, I'm really conscious of the fact that I've been in business for a very long time. I've been in business more than I wasn't. I was the kid who grew up in domestic violence, there was sexual abuse. I left school, was forced to leave school at 14 years of age, left home at 16, and self-taught everything that I've done. And I had my first business when I was in my early 20s, and that was a martial arts school. So I had been in business for a very long time. Online world was like the dawning of a new era for me. Love everything about being online. I've had a global audience. I've had global access to clients. I've had people signing up from all around the world since about 2000 and I want to say 2004, 2005, something like that. So I've always had a global community and people that work with me and buy from me from all around the world. And yeah, it's just, I don't know what I was going to say. Can you tell? I kindly lost my train of thought. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on. And so that's all of that, right? Yeah. So that's what I was saying. As I'm conscious of the fact that I'm 56 years of age and I'm making some of the biggest moves that I've made in my business life in a long time. And I'm not exhausted. I'm not unclear. I'm so clear. I'm so grounded. I'm so aligned and calibrated. Like I am ready for the next step and what comes my way. And it's a really nice place to be. And I'm excited that at 56, I'm equally excited by my business and what's coming as I was when I first started all those years ago. It just gets better because we know more, we know ourselves more, we just know ourselves so much more, and that serves us in a very good way. Um, and then, so that's it for the business stuff. I'll share the rest another time, but I want to talk to you about HRT. So, HRT was not something I'd ever considered just because I'm like, I don't need it. I had awful PMS my whole life. I had very irregular periods. I didn't start my period till I was maybe 15, something like that. And then I didn't get another period for a year later. And it's like, it's just been a shit show. My hormones were a shit show my whole life. And then after I had my kids, everything regulated and it was fine. You know, I had a lot of cysts and things like that. All that stuff was going on. And then I had my kids and my periods were regular, but the PMT was off the charts. And so as perimenopause struck, I knew something. It's like this is getting worse, not better. So at about 44, I went and had some testing, and they did where they stick the ultrasound up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your left ovary shut up shop. The right one's kind of limping along. You are in perimenopause." I'm like, cool. So I was fully menopausal by the time I was 50. And I relied on traditional Chinese medicine and just exercise. You know, I've trained my whole life. So exercising and eating well and getting outside more and all the things. And I kind of sailed through menopause really. And then got to the other side of it and it's like I feel good. I feel really good. Like I used to always have ovarian pain, never have it now, or a little bit since I started the HRT, but didn't have it. My moods were very stable. I just felt great. And then in the last couple of years, in 2023, I was diagnosed with a form of leukemia called CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And right now, there's no treatment. So, CLL is one of these cancers that there is no benefit to early intervention. So, I've had a bone marrow biopsy. We know how packed my bone marrow is. I have to see my specialist every 3 months. I have, blood tests and see my specialist every 3 months and all the rest of it. And my lymphocytes are, they're escalating. So, at some point, I am going to need treatment. And it's not traditional chemo. It's going to be what's it called? Immunotherapy and a couple of other things. So it's treatable, not curable. It's treatable. But one of the things that I noticed with the CLL was, and the reason that I went to explore why I was feeling so exhausted, was because I was feeling so exhausted and I couldn't I was just, I always felt like I was getting sick. So I went and got the test done and we found out it was CLL. And so my energy levels aren't great. I'm fine up until about midday, 1 o'clock, and then I kind of crash and I have to have a little bit of a nap. I don't nap, but like just chill. And then often I'll go for my walk in the afternoon and it's an effort. It's an effort to do that. It's also an effort to get to the gym when I've never, ever, ever needed motivation to get to the gym. It's just who I am. It's part of what I do. But I was negotiating with myself like a motherfucker every day to get to the gym. And I'm like, what is going on? So I knew about the CLL and I kind of knew that, well, this is the new normal because my body is overproducing lymphocytes. That takes energy. Then my immune system is having to fight that, which takes more energy. So I'm just operating, burning more energy, using more energy every day just to be where I am right now, right? And so that that really challenged me, but it also helped me streamline my business. It's like, well, I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to, like, I still didn't have a lot of information. before I made decisions about I need to remove myself from my business as much as I can. I need to streamline it. I need to be more precise and just release the hustle culture because I thrive in it, but it burns a lot of energy, right? It's like I can't keep operating like that because I keep putting myself in this energetic hole that it takes a long time to get out of. So anyway, so I knew I was dealing with CLL, but the exhaustion was still there, and I noticed my skin was so dry, and I was getting headaches, and my body's aching more. Like had backache for like months and months and months and months. I've actually got to go get a scan today. And my knees are aching and my wrists are aching and my hip is aching. That's had a few surgeries, but it hadn't been playing up. And so I don't know. I'm working with this amazing trainer right now, and he said, why don't you go and get a full panel of bloods so we can have a look? I am definitely committed to getting a little bit leaner and putting on a little bit more muscle, and nothing's happening, even though we're doing all of the right things. And he said, go get the bloods tested so we can have a look. And um, when we looked at my testosterone, there's basically no testosterone going around my body. And there were a few other indicators hormonal wise. And he said, that's not my specialty. So go and see someone about that. So I booked in to see somebody and I started HRT. It's Wednesday, the 12th of November, 2025. I started taking it on Monday, the 10th, and my skin feels softer already. I don't think I'm imagining it. My sleep is definitely better straight away. So I'm putting the progesterone on my arms, and there's a pill that I take at night. The testosterone I just rub on once a day. And I do feel like I keep touching my face. I'm like, why is my skin better? Now, that said, I have also been taking the Glow Stack peptides, and I've been taking that for about, what's today? 1 week exactly. And you should see my stomach. I am not good at giving myself injections. It's like I've been punched in the guts. There is just bruises everywhere, but the CLL does, I do bruise more. So it's not a good look. There's no hiding it. You know, if I were to walk around in a bikini, it's like, what? Not that I am right now, but it's fucking cold and it's spring, but it's like you can't miss it. Like there's bruises all over my stomach. So I'm going to get better at that. I'm going to get better at the injections, but I'm giving myself 2 injections a day right now. And I haven't noticed a huge difference right now, but I'm hoping that with a little bit more time, maybe we need to adjust the level for the anti-inflammatory just because my back is still giving me grief. But with the HRT, that might help too. So I just decided a few months ago, I'm going to throw everything at it. If I can feel better, if part of my exhaustion is hormone related and not just the CLL, if I can get another 10%, I'm going to be really happy with that. I'm going to notice it. I want to see my skin looking better. I want to see, and my libido was like it's still happening and I still enjoy it, but it's not like bring it on. You know what I mean? It's like going to the gym, right? It's like I enjoy it once I'm there, but it's like it's not the thing that I'm thinking of and can't wait to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like that. I want to enjoy all the pleasures in life, including my partner, right? And so I don't just owe it to me, but I owe it to him as well, right? To just feel better and to, get that turned on again so that I can be more, normal, like the way that I was. I'm getting embarrassed now talking about that. Anyway, so that's kind of where things are. This is a bit of a long one. I will probably do a video a week, I reckon. I want to make an effort to dress up more. One of the things that I was telling myself as well is the amount of money I spend on my hair and my nails and my skin and all the rest of it. And it's like I walk around, the stuff the memes you see where it's like you're walking or you go to the gym and you eat well and all that to look like this and you get around in oversized sweats. It's like that's me living my life. And it's like, no, why do all this if you're going to walk around like a sloth? Like get your shit together. So this will give me an a reason to wash my hair and put my makeup on and put actual clothes on, and I'm going to get excited about it. I'm going to get excited about it. And so that's where we're at. So this one is a little bit longer just to give you the lay of the land. But as far as how I run my business now, it's very much understated. It's more profitable, more effective than it's ever been. And I've never done less in my business. In the past, doing less used to freak me out because I had a lot of unhealed trauma that I didn't want to deal with. Well, I dealt with that last year. So now I have peace. And it's quite nice having all of this extra space that I didn't have before, space that I was filling with busyness so I didn't have to deal with my shit, right? Childhood trauma stuff. You know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? And so my business is completely restructured, achieve way more, doing way less. It feels so good. My business feels so good, but it's also not this codependent relationship that I once had with it, where it's like, I am my business and my business is me. And that's what I think about 97% of the time. The rest is, staying in shape, my kids and my partner, and that's about it, right? It's like, no, I want my business to take up the portion of my life that is appropriate, instead of all of it, because it takes up a lot. It's very easy for me to overwork because I love it. So that's all restructured. Got some big things coming that I'll share with you. HRT, peptides, all the things, because this chapter of my life feels amazing. Everything feels so good in this phase of my life, and I want to look and feel as good as I can to make the most of it. I really do. Oh, that's the other thing that I'm going to share with you. Next year, and I will share it with you. Next year, I'm going to Turkey and I'm going to have a neck lift and a facelift, and I might do the lip thing just to bring that up a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, I've got the filter on. My skin is good. Like, I have taken good care of my skin my whole life, but it could be better. And it's like, I want to go and do that so that I feel for me, not for anybody else. And if I didn't have it, would I be okay? Yeah, I'm happy with the way that I look. I just want to I catch myself sometimes. I'm seeing this, and I'm like, that's got to go. It's got to go. Eyelids are, a little bit, and it's like, I stopped having Botox about 3 years ago now, I reckon. And I had all the filler removed from my face about 2 years ago. And it was so nice to see my face again. And so I do a little bit in my lips, but I don't want to have that puffy filled look anymore. And so when I go and I get everything lifted, they'll do a fat transfer as well. And that will be perfect because it will not change the look of my face, and I won't need to fill it to puff it out to, give it volume. Anyway, so that's happening too. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up that I'm going to share with you. I will take you every step of the way. So it is not going to just be business. It's going to be being a woman in her mid 50s. We're screaming towards 60. Not that I want to speed that up, but I'm not scared of it. But I want to go into that. Like, I feel like 50 has been the most incredible decade. I loved my 40s. 50s, I love even more. I want to love my 60s even more than that. And I want to have the energy, and I don't want to have any resistance to showing up where it's like, oh my God, look at that turkey neck or whatever. For me, right? I want to look in the mirror and really like what I see. Right now, I'm about an 8 out of 10. I want to be a 10. Simple as that. Anyway, thank you for listening. It has been a long one. Welcome back, or welcome to the channel. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. And like and leave me a comment. Let's create a community of midlife women over here who are here to show up for each other and have the communications. And I'll be in the comments. I'm not going to just be one of those people that doesn't answer the comments. I'm my own DM person on Instagram. I'm my own DM person everywhere. I don't have anybody do that for me. I just don't like it. I do have a concierge. She has her own Instagram account, and she will community build on my behalf, but not as me. It's never as me. So anyway, that's it. I don't know how to finish it. So I'm just going to say goodbye, and I will see you next week. Bye.